the smell which you've talked about in communion, this smell of sulfur or burnt cardboard
Yeah,
or ammoniac. It's like this very distinct, potent, putrid smell that engulfed this tiny town that you had with your interaction. That was also mentioned by this molecular biologist,
right.
and he actually had the science behind it,
Yes.
which was these pores.
Well, that was what started. Someone sent me, I don't remember who it was, the Reddit piece, the document, which is in the back of the book completely. The whole document's there. I have no idea who wrote it. I I have to admit that I'm no good at the internet, and uh, I didn't find it myself. Someone sent me a link saying this, you might be interested in this, and that was true. The reason it was true is that the first few words of the document describe something I have observed but never spoken about that is really weird, which is that with the pores. Uh, the document describes the fact that they exude waste through pores in their skin, and it mentions the odor of ammonia. And, you know, they have, if they have aesthetics at all, they're very different from ours. Let's put it that way. They ain't pretty. And I hate to say that, but, and I probably piss them off, but it's the truth.
Do you think so? You think they'd be offended?
I've already done that. And yes, is the answer. Uh, the, uh, anyway, when I read that, I thought, my God, I saw that. I know that. I saw that. I saw it in my front yard. What happened was one morning, I got up. It was just, I get up early, and I wasn't expecting to see them. But as I was walking past the windows in the cabin, looking out over the front yard, there were three of them standing there up near some trees. And I thought, oh my God. I was trying to kind of tame them at the time. Like, I felt they were very bird-like. They would disappear when you got near them. So I go creeping downstairs and out onto the front porch. It's still standing there, and they're doing this, moving their arms, and I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. And so I step down in the yard, and they're still doing it, moving their arms. Then there's a telepathic message that they're cleansing themselves, that it's waste matter, and that they're literally, and so then I told Bud Hopkins about this, and he said, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I told him about the ammonia smell, and it was like they were defecating, but they do it through their skin. And he said, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Well, that has to be your imagination. So I figured, yeah, he's probably right. It is pretty disgusting. Anyway, I dropped it. So years and years and years pass. I pick up the Reddit document, and the first paragraph is that described exactly. So I knew the document had some substance. It is not perfect genetically. The genetics in the document, I've had a number of two geneticists look at it, and they say the man obviously is a biologist, but their impression was either that he's talking about genetics that are very different, which he is, or that he's probably retired and not completely up on the science as it is now.
I see.
But nevertheless, in substance, the document is authentic in that sense. And to my mind, it's very authentic because I'm the only person. Bud died, and no, he never said that to anybody. He never wanted to discuss it again.
Yeah.
So,
and then we heard about it during the Varginha case. Well, I mean, obviously this come up. I think even
but we didn't hear the idea
the
of
excretory
the
system. Yeah,
exactly, anywhere.
No,
just the smells in the Varginha case.
The smells, and that there was slime. They were oily.
They are
a little oily and slimy.
Well, I have to admit that they're not. It's complicated. They're not loathsome. They're beautiful in a way. Some guys from Bright Pat, I was doing a book signing in Dayton years and years ago, and a couple of, I guess there were Air Force people from Bright Pat came out, They weren't in uniform, and they showed me a photograph. This is before digital photography. It's a Kodak of three of them standing under a tree in a neighborhood.
No way.
Yeah, this chalk white light coming down and lighting the top of the tree. And they were so graceful looking. They looked like little ballet dancers. And that's how they are. They're very, very graceful. And I said, can I keep this? And they said, no, we just wanted you to know you're on the right track. So,
how strange.
Listen.
Do you ever feel like that might have been some type of like way to, because obviously people are going to say, well, maybe they just showed you some false information to keep you.
No, it was a photograph.
You feel like it was authentic.
Well, in those days, making a Kodak, why would they go to that trouble?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, maybe they were just trying to encourage me and it was fake. I can't say that for sure.
Sure.
But it didn't look fake. Not at all.
Yeah. And so, okay. So their skin has this quality, which has these thousands of pores, these tiny little pores. Yeah.
But it's also smooth. Their legs are, I've touched the legs of the lady on the cover of Communion, or at least I think it was her. They're I not necessarily say for sure I can tell them apart, but there's a definite beauty there. You just have to get past the fact that they're radically different from us. Their odors, their gestalt, their body feel and everything.
Their
movements are completely different from us. Their hands are very disturbing to be touched by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they are there physically.
He'd mentioned their hands their fingerprints were more like concentric circles in this document.
It said that in the document? I didn't remember that, and I've never seen I probably didn't bother with that because I've never seen their fingerprints.
Yeah,
so that wasn't
hard to notice.
Yeah, it wasn't something I would have brought up.
But they said creaseless as well. Their skin was like free of any creases, like obviously at their at their joints, but other than that, there was no wrinkles.
Well, the lady, I remember her as looking old.
Oh.
I asked her at one point, "Are you old?" And she said, "I'm old."
What do you think she meant by "I'm old"?
I wondered about that. Did she mean I'm 80 or 80,000? I mean, you don't know. You don't know. And when she says when they say I, we assume that's the individual you're looking at talking to you.
Right.
But it's not. It's the whole mind. Like one time she said to me, "I created you." And I thought at the time, how did she create me? I thought my mother and daddy created me. But then I thought later, if that was the whole mind speaking, maybe she just said that they created us. And maybe they did, because they do manipulate genes a lot. Maybe the fact that we are so different. I mean, look at us. And any animal, even the closest animals to us, are light years behind us. Like a chimpanzee or an African gray parrot can never even understand the most basic concept of an internal combustion engine at all, in any way, ever. That's the difference.
Yeah, it might even be greater than that, even somehow.
It's greater than that.
Yeah.
It's even greater than that. So, yeah, maybe they have been searching this universe for a companion for a long time, and they created us for that purpose. In which case, if we start to self-destruct, they're going to be PO'd.
PO'd or intervene, right?
Well, if they intervene, they've made it very clear to me it isn't going to be fun, because it'll mean that they no longer it will turn our whole culture toward them. Right now, it's just a few billionaires looking for tech that they can exploit, and the government looking for ways to protect us from them. That's all. It's not important. But if the whole culture turns toward them, then everybody's going to be looking for phones from the beyond. And who cares about our stuff when they can cross the universe? I mean, because there's a lot more than they can do that we don't see.
What do you speculate would be one of those things?
Instantaneous movement.
Yeah, from anywhere.
From anywhere to anywhere.
And any time, you think, too?
I don't think time, it doesn't matter in the least. It's not in time. I talk about that a little bit in Fourth Mind. It's something very, very different. It's not motion as we understand it. It is leaving the whole expression of the world, the physical world, and re-entering it in another place instantaneously.
Well,
and that is a remarkable power, and they do possess it. And we're going to want that very, very badly, because we think in terms of Earth now, and oh, gee, how cool it would be to get in a flying saucer and go from New York to London in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to go to another galaxy in a second or under a second?
Yeah. See, when hearing something like that, and which I assume, in this universe rich with life, and you would have to assume with the billions of years that this has existed, that if a race had gotten to a point where, they were able to escape their own solar system at one point, then they would have eventually reached this level of technology.
Yeah.
And if they did that, my brain always comes back to this, is that if I wanted to sustain life outside of Earth, right, and prolong or even just spread the seed of mankind throughout the stars, right, I wouldn't do so by living in a dome on Mars, right?
No.
I would probably visit planets that already had some semblance of life and inject my own DNA into it.
Yeah.
Therefore, I could just monitor them and they can live happily on their planet, and it's still spreading my seed across the universe. So I would assume, this is just my assumption, but I would assume that they would have done this 1,000,000 times over.